This is the Revolting Blob, and you're watching Cold TV. Ah!
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back into Pro Wrestling 60, where we talk about everything that's happened in the world of professional wrestling this past week in 60 minutes. I'm XLJ, the OG, joined by my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, the man from making his spring or his summer residence in Palm Springs, Florida, or Hawaii, or California, or somewhere where there's palm trees, Mr. B-Roll.
How are we doing out there, world? I hope everyone is feeling very tranquilo.
Oh, I'm feeling very tranquilo, and I think I know where you're going with this, sir. But hey, you always got to kick us off right.
That's right. It was a week. It was in professional wrestling all over the world. Clock starts now. Let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it. And yes, our top story of the week. It is the most famous and greatest wrestling tournament, in my opinion, in all of professional wrestling. It's the highlight of the summer for New Japan Pro Wrestling. The G1 Climax, G1 Climax 33, has come to a conclusion. It's hard to believe. We've been talking about for weeks, and we reached the end here of the G1 Climax. And what a G1 Climax it was. First of all, new system in place for this year. They actually got to where it's the top two contenders in each block. Of course, there's 4 different blocks getting into the playoffs. So they had a playoff, so essentially an 8-man tournament, and then final 4 in the championship. And let's just get right into it. We're going to talk about the playoffs here. Playoffs. First off, a couple surprises here. We've addressed this, but I'm going to say it again. Hikuleo and Evil in the final 8. I don't know. But you know what? It's all right. Hikuleo, I'm okay with. I just feel like there was so many better guys in that A block. But I've thought about it now since then, and if you think, like, Shota Umina is a future star. Ren Narita is a future star. We know that Three Musketeers, what they're doing. Kaido Kiyomura should have been booked better, but it is what it is. Like, they like to shit on Noah talent, and I mean, in my opinion, no offense, I think that's what they did to him. I think he had a decent showing in the tournament, that not nearly strong enough. But anyways, let's get right into it. Let's talk about the playoff round here, the Elite 8, if you will. So in the Elite 8, we got to see where Tetsuya Naito would defeat Hikuleo to advance to the Final 4. No surprise, Kazuchika Okada defeating Zack Sabre Jr. to advance. Very highly competitive matchup between David Finlay and Will Ospreay, but Will Ospreay would advance to the Final 4. And Sonata versus Evil, a battle of the former partners.
Now let's set the stage here real quick. Sonata was unbeaten to this point in the tournament.
Yes, he was.
And he is your champion.
And fucking Evil won because House of Torture. I don't understand the push for Evil this year in this G1. Like, I don't get it because it was all the same bullshit. I like Evil the wrestler. I can't fucking stand the House of Torture. And I know our good friend Wrestling Colin kind of feels the exact opposite as far as like Sonata's run and can't stand him. I was okay with Sonata's run, but I thought this was just.
I think this is more telling to what's happening with Sonata than to what's going on with Evil.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But I was not a fan of the decision, but it is what it is. So let's get into our Final 4. And first up, we have Evil against Okada. For God's sakes, please stop this bullshit that is Evil. And after all sorts of bullshit shenanigans from the House of Torture, I'm just so fucking over it. Y'all think the Bloodline's bad? The Bloodline's fucking tame compared to House of Torture and all the bullshit. They like literally their move set is like outside interference, outside interference, outside of interference, a wrestling hold, outside interference, outside of interference, a wrestling hold. I cannot fucking stand House of Torture. There. I'm done ranting about him because guess what? Evil got eliminated. That's right. He didn't make it to the finals as Okada advances, but Mr. B-Roll. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's talk about this other semifinal matchup. William Ospreay against Tetsu Naito. This was an all-time classic. And these guys, in typical Ospreay fashion, man, they just beat the holy hell out of each other. Stiff as can be. There's a point in this matchup, folks, where Naito literally gets knocked out. You can see Naito actually gets knocked out for a brief moment. But he did come to, and holy moly, we watched this one together, B-Roll. You remember my reaction. The Ungovernable One defeats William Ospreay to advance to the finals of the G1 Climax. But this match was phenomenal. Definitely, I would say, the best match of the entire G1. And there was several great matches, but this is the one that's going to stand out to me. And hey, guess what? It's our match of the week here on Pro Wrestling 60.
Yeah, your guy beat my guy, but you know what? It's okay. If it had to be anybody, I'm okay with Naito.
And I love Will Ospreay too. It's just Naito's my guy. But let's get to that final matchup. We've seen it before. Never in a G1 final, though, interesting enough. Kazuchika Okada and Tetsu Naito, the longtime rivals. Okada trying to become the first ever person to three-peat, winning the G1 Climax. But that didn't happen because, yes, the Ungovernable One is back. Oh, I was so happy. I called this, hey, go back. Call me Nostradamus. Go back and watch our Forbidden Door prediction show before the G1 even started. And I said Naito was going to win the G1 Climax. And by God, he did it. Tetsu Naito is the winner of the G1 Climax 33. And of course, you know he's going to be our wrestler of the week. But B-Roll, I love the story. I've always loved the story with Naito. And this is just more to the story that is the greatness of the Stardust genius himself, Tetsu Naito. Because it's kind of like I feel like the past year or so, he's kind of like, people put Naito on the back burner because of injuries or because of other things going on in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But damn it, he is back because he won this grueling, exhausting G1 Climax. And on top of that, the brutal match he had with Ospreay, and to go in the very next night and wrestle Okada and go damn near 30-plus minutes with Okada, it just goes to show you the will and the character that is that of the Ungovernable One.
It is kind of funny, though. My wife was she was in the room when I was watching it, and she was asking questions, and I was like, well, it's like kind of like, the story here is like, you have one who's always been the bride, and then you have Naito, who's always been the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah. Now Naito becomes a 3-time champion of the G1 Climax, which is a huge accomplishment to himself. I honestly feel like now that we've seen what's happened and how this G1's went down, I think what you're going to see is between now and Wrestle Kingdom, you'll see Sonata against Evil and possibly another title defense. But I do think Sonata and Naito will main event the Tokyo Dome. And what a story that's going to be between the two former Los Ingobernables stablemates. Man, oh man, I'm here for it. But Tetsu Naito is our wrestler of the week because he is your G1 winner. He's the Ungovernable One. He's the Stardust genius. And I love me some Naito, man. I'm so happy. I'm so fucking happy that he won the G1. Man, just I'm gonna be like amped up the rest of the show, man. But how about this? Let's go to Friday Night SmackDown, where once again this Bloodline story we're still going strong as the aftermath of SummerSlam taking place. Of course, remember Jimmy turning on Jey Uso. We found out really the reason or his reasoning behind that was to keep the Usos together as a tag team. Because if Jay would have become the tribal chief, everything would have changed for Jimmy. And so,
Poor
Jay,
Jimmy.
yeah. And then just the craziness that happened after this. But apparently, Jey Uso, DEUCES? Jey Uso is proclaiming he's out of the bloodline. He's out of the WWE and he's out of here. So, I don't know, man. It's, and tying into real life, his contract is coming up in a month. All right, let's go to your boy Husky for a hot take.
Yo, what's up? I'm back. Now, I have two things. A hot take and a little bit of a fantasy booking in honor of the new Fantasy Warfare show that XLJ's doing on World Championship Wreckage. My hot take is that I feel that the Bloodline storyline will go on longer than the NWO did. Now, on to the bit of the fantasy booking element. Now, we saw Jey Uso leave WWE. Now, when do you guys think Jey Uso is going to come back? Personally, for me, I think that they are going to drag this out all the way to WrestleMania. Jimmy and Jay have done an interview where they said before they hang it up, they want to do a feud. And they want Jay versus Jimmy at Mania. So I think that Jay comes back, let's say in the Royal Rumble. Jimmy is in the Royal Rumble. Jay comes back and eliminates Jimmy. They drag it out and drag it out and drag it out. And then I think one of the nights, I'll say night one main event, Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso. What do y'all think?
Oh, man, I love that idea. Like, I would just take my money now. Just go ahead and take it. Like, that would be what a transition to go from main eventing as a tag team the year prior at WrestleMania, making history, and then going to be the main event the next year in a brother versus brother matchup. I can dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's beautiful. You have brother versus brother, night one, and then the ultimate nail in the coffin of the Bloodline's dead forever when Cody dethrones him at 40.
Because he's going to finish the story. Well, hey, a lot happened on Friday Night SmackDown. And this kind of come out of left field, I thought. And new United States champion Rey Mysterio picking up the win and defeating and dethroning Austin Theory. How surprised were you with this? Because I honestly didn't see this coming.
They have cooled Theory off so much.
Yeah, I don't. I was talking about this the other day with somebody, and it was like, if you look at the difference between these quote unquote secondary mid card titles on each show, the Intercontinental title is head and shoulders so far above the United States title. I mean that no disrespect to Theory or Ray, but they got a lot of catching up to do. And I mean, part of that's the greatness that is Gunther. So.
Well, you see, like they switched brands too, and I feel like that difference got magnified when they because Theory was on Raw and had like more time, and then I feel like since they switched, it's made it that much of a difference as well too.
Yeah, and I mean the question is, where does Theory go from here? And hey, for that. It's the time of the week. We got to talk about one of her favorite wrestlers. Let's go to your tribal queen for the tribal tidbit of the week.
Hi guys, this is your tribal queen Bree with your tribal queen tidbit of the week. And we saw on Friday Austin Theory lost his belt to Rey Mysterio. My first complaint is I wish it had been Santos Escobar, but I missed those events, unfortunately, so I didn't see how Ray got inserted. But now leaves the question, how are they going to book him? Are they going to book Austin Theory to re-challenge Ray for the belt again? Or are they going to put him in a feud with mid-card feud with maybe Grayson Waller? That's who I would like to see him feud with. But sadly, this kills me because I'm a huge Austin Theory fan. I don't think that they're going to push him. And that's so unfortunate. But that's all I had to say. This is your Tribal Queen tidbit of the week.
Well, Bree, I can just tell you this. At least it's not Fawn Wagner. Anyways.
Grayson Waller and Austin Theory should be a tag team.
That could be interesting. I don't know. I don't see. But you know what? Remember, we were having this conversation 8 months ago, and I told you, oh, Theory's done after he lost that U.S. title or the Money in the Bank, and look how he rebounded. So maybe this is another reset on him. I don't know. We will have to see in the coming days and weeks ahead of the WWE. But SmackDown was a loaded show Friday night, man. Eli Drake picking up a very quick win against Uncle Phil. I mean, against Top Dollar. I'm sorry.
Sorry, who's Eli Drake?
Oh my God, I did say Eli Drake.
I mean, you also called Top Dollar Uncle Phil, but I mean, it's okay. It's okay,
yes.
bro. Not everyone can be the megastar. LA Knight, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, good times. But yes, LA Knight picking up the win. Thank God Jonah's not on this card because I butcher that one up too. Asuka went up against Charlotte. AJ Styles continuing his rivalry with Karrion Kross. But to me, the big moment outside of what we already talked about, what about the matchup being made between the rated R superstar Edge and Sheamus? Are going to go one-on-one next week on Friday Night SmackDown in what will be the first ever one-on-one matchup between them in the WWE, which is crazy to think that all this time Sheamus and Edge have never met one-on-one.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Craziness.
I'm excited to see this. I know I'm going to be tuning in Friday night to see what happens between Edge and Sheamus. Well, we got some injury reports we got to talk about here. Several injuries going on in the world of professional wrestling, mainly the WWE right now. First and foremost, Roman Reigns is reported has sustained an injury in his matchup with Jey Uso at SummerSlam. We don't have a whole lot of details about this injury, but I mean, obviously, the way they book Roman, I'm sure he's going to have plenty of time to rest it up. I believe from what I've read, it could be something rib related, but like I say, nothing's really truly been disclosed on that injury.
He took a spear, though.
Yeah, this is true. But speaking of injuries and ribs, also apparently Brock Lesnar is coming out of SummerSlam with some rib injuries, a little sore. Of course, Brock's going to go up to his Palacio farm in Canada and do what Brock Lesnar does, and we'll probably see you around the Royal Rumble, I imagine, which I'm okay with. But Brock Lesnar, another one of the wrestlers banged up from SummerSlam.
I picture him just going to the farm, but inside he has one of those Bacta tanks from Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
that's what I imagine.
Yeah, that would be cool. Hey man, he's got the money. So now, are the women's tag team titles cursed?
Yes.
It's just not fair. So now Sonya Deville is out with an injury. I believe it was her MCL. I believe, but she's going to be out for a significant period of time. Now, however, they have not stripped the tag team titles yet from Chelsea Green, and I think she's going to be doing a talent contest to see who her new partner is. But I hate to see this because they were just really getting started, and I love the chemistry between Sonya and Chelsea. But Chelsea's going to hold it down for sure. But you hate to see all these injuries, but we do got some exciting news. This man right here, one Bray Wyatt, does look like he will be cleared to come back to action very soon in the WWE. We don't know the extent of his injuries. I never knew. There's obviously been a lot of mystery around Bray Wyatt since he wasn't able to wrestle at WrestleMania this past year. but we are hearing that it was actually a potentially career or life-threatening medical condition that he had. So, hoping he's doing well and okay, and we get to see Bray Wyatt back in the WWE. I'm here for it, but I'm mainly just happy to hear that he is healthy and doing better. Because hearing that about like him having such a serious who knows what it is, but I mean, just the fact that he's okay, that's the most important thing. Now, let's get over to Monday Night Raw, which, man, Monday Night Raw was a pretty loaded show this week. First off, we got to talk about this moment right here. Chad Gable in his hometown winning a 4-way matchup to become the new #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. So happy to see him win that matchup, and a hell of a matchup, too. Also on Monday Night Raw, let's talk about this segment. This was fire. This was The Miz with L.A. Knight. Yeah, I got it right then. Man, the back and forth between these two, chef's kiss. I loved every minute of it.
And let's talk about it too. Now, which the brand split is the brand split, but like getting LA Knight maybe more on the Raw side of things. Maybe we could eventually get a world heavyweight title in the picture.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Take it. Let's do it. Book it. Book it now, Papa H. I need it. We need it in our life. And then how about this? A shocking turn of events as the night was capped off with a 6-man tag with the Judgment Day going against World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins, Cody, and what was supposed to be Sami Zayn. Sami got injured, and Shinsuke Nakamura willingly stepped up. And in the night, or earlier in the night, he had defeated Bronson Reed. There, suck it, I got it right. But at the end of the night, turning on Seth and thus going down the path of the lesser good. Looks like we got a Shinsuke Nakamura heel turn on our hands, and I'm okay with this. I love this, actually. I think this is much needed for him, and this is going to be like it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on in with Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm all for it, dude.
I'll watch him and Seth dance. I'm here for it.
Oh yeah. Well, B-roll, I am so excited. It has been a minute, but are you ready for the 5 count? That's right. Let's go to Extreme League Wrestling with
Sorry
the 5.
I've been gone so long, everybody. Had to do my little Jeff Hardy jig before I got right back into some wrestling news. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 5 Count, the show where I go over the top 5 news stories from the world of professional wrestling you might have missed this week. By the way, early match of the year contender, the Montgomery Brawl. Number 1, Triple H ousted from WWE position. No, don't worry, Vince McMahon is still on medical leave and is probably going to become one of those Futurama heads here pretty soon. But with the official merger of WWE and UFC to form the TKO group happening, there's going to be a lot of corporate shakeups when it comes to both companies. Think of it much like when people fuse inside of Dragon Ball Z, but there's a lot more boardrooms and emails and meetings. I would like to think somebody like Gotenks would be head of accounting. It is simply just a rumor at this point, but it tends to happen whenever companies come together like this. There's probably going to be some layoffs from WWE and UFC. But chances are this will mostly come from the corporate aspect, your accounting departments, human resources departments. John Jones and Otis aren't going to be working at the same McDonald's anytime soon. And while you would assume someone with a board of directors spot would be safe from these changes, you would be wrong. It is now being reported that Triple H, once the finalization of the merger, will no longer have a position on the board of directors. But no need to clutch your pearls for Papa H quite yet, as he will still hold his position as head of creative. Long story short, business. If you are interested to see how the whole corporate merger thing works, I would highly recommend checking out the channels The Company Man and Bright Sun Films. They do wonderful videos around this sort of a topic, and if you're wanting to learn more, hey man, knowledge is power. Number 2, WWE Champion suffers major injury. Someone please convince me that the women's tag titles are not cursed. Danhausen, is this where you've been? Much like the previous holders of the silver and white hubcaps. Unfortunately, the team of Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green may have to vacate their women's tag team titles, as Sonya Deville did tear her ACL. Please get better soon. God, maybe Trinity and Mercedes Moné had the right idea by dodging these bastards. For some reason, whoever holds these belts becomes more fragile than wrestling simps on Twitter. or X, whatever the hell it's called now. Number 3, Bray Wyatt to possibly return? Hey kids, this is a sign. Don't do the do. In all seriousness though, Bray Wyatt has been missing from our screens since February whenever he was diagnosed with some type of mystery illness and had to be removed from his feud with Bobby Lashley for WrestleMania 39. But at the moment, there is rumblings in the wrestling ether that Bray Wyatt could return as soon as September, which is great news to hear from my spooky boy. But this does pose another question. What can you do with Wyatt's character given its current state and the state of it before his absence? Well, there's a perfectly good Cody Rhodes that doesn't seem to really have a feud going on right now. With Cody and Bray's history both in their families and with each other, you have a ready-made feud for Bray as soon as he wants to return and is able to return. As long as you don't do it in a Code Red Nightmare match, I think it's going to be pretty solid for all parties involved. Regardless of fantasy booking, get well soon, Bray Wyatt. Number 4, AEW's record ticket sales. Here in a couple of weeks, All Elite Wrestling is about to make history. It's insane to think that a company that just started 4 years ago is basically about to sell out Wembley Stadium. It's also insane to think about that a pro wrestling event of this size has not happened at Wembley since SummerSlam 92, back when Tony Khan couldn't legally drive a car and his parents probably didn't let him stay up past 10 p.m. All Elite Wrestling has sold around 75,000 tickets for this event. That is 85% of the available seats within Wembley. Also, this isn't a competition between AEW and WWE. If you're trying to do tribalism, get that out of here. Given how turbulent 2022 was for AEW, 2023 has been fantastic in comparison, and I'm so happy to see one of my favorite companies doing so well. With the Elite signing new long-term deals, and MJF and Adam Cole having possibly feud of the year, things seem to be turning a corner for the better in the world of All Elite. And finally, number 5, Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews get engaged. Here at Extreme League Wrestling, we love love. So a big congratulations are in order for Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews on their engagement this week. So please, leave all your dirty Dom quips and jokes in the comments down below. I actually solely drink the tears of Rhea Ripley simps. And look, Buddy Matthews isn't a bad looking guy either. So Matthews, we salute you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, he got her. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of The 5 Count. B-Roll. Love you guys. See you next week. Goodbye, everybody. And always remember, I've got till 5.
We love you too, buddy. And yeah, man, he called it here. Mommy is engaged. I don't
Off the
know.
market.
She's off the market, but by golly. Buddy Matthews, you are a brave man. Like, you are coming after a hardened criminal's mommy? I don't know, man. I think he can hold his own, though, probably against Dom Dom. But
Wait, does that make Buddy Matthews Dom Dom's new stepdaddy?
oh, my God. Now you're opening up a really big can of worms. But, hey, in all seriousness, we here at Pro Wrestling 60 want to wish Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews congratulations on their engagement and wish them all the best of luck in their future relations.
I got 2 comments, and I'm gonna make them real quick. 1, the house always wins, and number 2, once you go ginger, you delete Tinder. There you go.
On that note, let's talk about NXT this past week and another fun show. And hey, speaking of Dom, how about him being in that main event against Dragon Lee? And Dom's dad was there, but Dom's
Not his stepdad, his real dad.
His real dad, not to be confused with Buddy Matthews. But man, this was once again, man. NXT, I feel like they are doing a great job right now. Kicking it off, they kicked off with Mustafa Ali against Axiom. I love the Blair Davenport matchup. I thought was great. Dragunov and Trick Williams, that confrontation, man. Look at Dragunov in a suit. It's just kind of weird to me, but it looks right. Oh, and what about Noam Dar against Tyler Bate? And Tyler Bate pretty much winning the cup, but then like revoking it because it was the fake one. So yeah. Overall, I thought NXT was a great show this past week. And what did you think?
Yeah, I was asked on something for like a hot take, and my hot take was that NXT is consistently the best book show out of the WWE on a week-to-week basis.
I agree.
It's more consistent than Raw and SmackDown.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. But hey, Oh, this whole show we're halfway through. We haven't even talked to AEW yet, and there's a ton going on in the world of elite wrestling. But first and foremost, let's talk about Dynamite from this past week, and how about the sadness that is the Jericho? Oh, we're gonna get to your boy here in a minute, but what about the Jericho Appreciation Society? No more. How you feel about that, B-roll? Did you have a tear in your eye?
It's a little sad, but
Yeah.
he's still a wizard.
This is true, and it looks like he's going to be making an announcement next week on whether or not he joins the Don Callis family. It seems like all signs point towards yes, but I don't know. We don't have anything official yet. But let's talk about your boy. Yes, Rob Van Dam going one-on-one against Jack Perry. First and foremost, we have to acknowledge Jack Perry's trolling. The Jerry Lynn tights from a la ECW in the 90s was beautiful. Phenomenal matchup. God, RVD can still go at 52. It's amazing what that man can do. But RVD, a phenomenal matchup. Hey, great opener, too. We forgot to mention. What about the Young Bucks against the Hardys? Always great to see them. Another great segment with MJF and Adam Cole. Love the M-Ring, but what about outside the ring, though? When they went to go play on the trampoline park, and, well, it didn't quite go as well for one. Adam Cole and MJF now did it. Bye-bye. I just have to say this, though. Like, those kids, though, yeah, their parents were not too happy about that segment.
Well, ironically, what it made me think of?
What's that?
The SNL skit where Peyton Manning is like
Oh,
hitting the kids with the footballs.
Yeah.
And he talks about it and he's like, the parents even came up and like, please, Mr. Manning, please pelt my kid with a football.
Well, I can tell you this, the parents did not feel that way about this segment. So much so that they just so happened to go and hire a lawyer who is going to confront MJF and Adam Cole. And I think you may have an idea of who that lawyer is. So why don't you check this?
Anyone who watches PW60, which I believe should be everyone and their mother, they know I have a lot of hats. And one of the things that I do have a passion for is law. And, here at Gout and Gout, Gout being me and myself, because I am overweight, I gotta meet some celebrities occasionally, and go over some lawsuits, because everyone's getting sued all the time, baby. So I got some AEW guys today, and we're gonna go over some shit they did. Tammy, I'm in! Hold my calls, I got some important clientele coming in. No one's called for you today, Mr. Gout. Your first 2 clients are in. Can I have a smoke break? Oh, Tammy, take all the smoke breaks you need. The meth pipe is under your chair. All right. Girl's uglier than sin. All right, come on in, Joe. Hey, gentlemen. MJF, Adam Cole, better than you, baby. Oh, my God, it has been a dream to meet both of you, even though I already met you when we planned out that whole dance routine a few weeks ago. None of you remember me. Okay. Yes, my clients are suing you for damages. You apparently assaulted a group of children at a trampoline park. Multiple children. It wasn't just MJF. Adam Cole, you took part in it. Why? And that's not everything. You did stuff when the cameras weren't even rolling. MJF, you urinated in the ball pit. You removed the springs from multiple trampolines. More children were hurt that day. You started a meth lab in the parking lot and got Tammy hooked on meth. Mr. Gout, unrelated to what you're talking about, but for lunch today, would you like some Subway? Subway. I have no words. That if you got that joke, you know that is so offensive that it caused the Photoshop to fuck up and put the wrong heads on the wrong bodies. What in the blue hell? Oh my God! Gout's gone crazy. He put his own heads on there. And when the hell did I ever wear a purple wig? Everything's going out of control. Is that the end of the sketch? You gonna end with me, the receptionist Tammy, the voluptuous dynamo with a beard? Wait. We forgot one thing, though. We forgot one thing. Take him away, Gout. Shania Twain! I'm spiraling into madness. Man, I feel like a woman. Oh, bye-bye, cruel world.
Oh, indeed. Best Scout, you've done it again. Oh, well, also highlighting on Dynamite from this past week, too, Hikaru Shida did defend her women's championship successfully against Anna Jay in the main event, back-to-back weeks for her to be in the main event. But let's talk about AEW Rampage from this past Friday, where Orange Cassidy successfully retained his, what are we calling it again? The Atlantic title? The All-Atlantic? The International Pacific Coast. I get so fucking confused with the name on this damn thing.
It was the All-Atlantic, and now it's the International. And I'm sure when they take it over to Europe, they're going to call it something else.
Yes. Well, Orange Cassidy did retain, and Darby Allin in action against Brian Cage, and Saraya making a rare appearance on Rampage, defeating Sky Blue to advance to All In. And we're going to talk about that here momentarily. But let's go over to Saturday night on AEW Collision. In the main event, the House of Black going up against CMFTR for the Trios Championship. A fun matchup, man. I thoroughly enjoyed this matchup, but most importantly, the house always wins, as the House of Black did retain their Trios Championship. Man, you talk about an incredible tag match. I love the matchup with Mercedes Martinez, Diamante against Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. And I feel like that tag team of Mercedes and Diamante need to be more on television. I was digging what they were putting out, man. But that was another great matchup on Collision as well. But hey, can you believe we are just mere weeks away from the biggest show of the year? Maybe the biggest in all of wrestling history, All In from Wembley Stadium. Just a couple weeks, and we did find out the challenge has been accepted before they go one-on-one in the main event. Better Than You, Baby will challenge for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship against Aussie. Hoi. Aussie Open to put those belts up on 0 Hour. Very surprised that this match was announced. What do you make of it?
It's just beautiful to the story that's going to be Adam Cole and MJF at this event.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be.
I'm telling you, I'm not trusting Adam Cole.
Yeah, it's interesting how that is, because it's normally would be MJF, but you're right. There's a lot of people, myself including, like, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. But we've got some other matches that we can announce officially for All In. We did find out the Young Bucks have accepted the challenge from FTR for the World Tag Team Championship. The rubber match, if you will, the third matchup between these two teams to determine who is literally the greatest tag team going in the game today. How about this one? A tag team coffin match with Sting and Darby Allin going up against Swerve and AR Fox. We talked about this. How amazing of a moment has this got to be for AR Fox to go from like the indies to now he's going to be competing in one of the top matchups on one of the biggest shows of all time and the biggest crowd he's ever been in front of. And, oh, yeah, by the way, you're going to be in there with Sting. Like, how amazing is that?
You deserve it.
I agree. 1,000% agree. And I love the story that's been going on with Darby and the Mogul Embassy, too. So I can't wait to see that matchup. And we do know we are getting a 4-way match for the Women's Championship with Hikaru Shida defending against Toni Storm, Saraya,
and Britt Baker.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll find out this Wednesday as Britt Baker takes on the Bunny. But, yeah, it's going to be Britt Baker. But that is all that's announced so far for All In, but we do have some matches that have been rumored, and mainly this is the big one. They have talked about that a possibility that Kenny Omega would team up with Hangman Page And Kota Ibushi, the Golden Elite, at it again, but this time going up against Takeshita and the Bullet Club Gold of Jay White and Juice Robinson. And the understanding is possibly this could lead to a Takeshita Kenny Omega one-on-one matchup at All Out a week later, which your boys are going to be at. Also, too, there's some other rumored matches. The Blackpool Combat Club in a trios match going up against the team of Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, and a partner to be named. There's also some rumors going out, too, that Jack Perry may be facing a rematch with RVD or some other famous ECW alumni. Who knows? But All In is shaping up pretty good. And, hey, speaking of All In, too, got to talk about this. Speaking of rumored matches, if Bryan Danielson was healthy, the rumor was he was going to go up against Kenny Omega at All In, which that would have been a match. But also, there's this matchup too. Forgot about this one. Grado and Jeff Jarrett. Dude, I hope that happens and Tony Khan gets the rights for Like a Prayer. That crowd is going to pop. It's saying if Grado comes out. I'm just saying. But those are some of the rumored matchups for All In. But before we get to our next slide there of Triple Mania you saw, it's time we please our appetite. We get a little something spicy. Let's go to Spicy Guac with the spicy take.
Spicy Guac here. Not letting you forget that there are still people that have technically never been eliminated from the Royal Rumble. So I feel like we need to have those non-eliminated people in another Royal Rumble to see who wins and who finally gets a chance to participate in a Royal Rumble. My money is on Curtis Axel.
There you go. Well, hey, Triple Mania 31 Night 3, the last Triple Mania of the year, took place this past Saturday in Mexico City. And we crowned a couple new champions, one of them being QT Marshall. That's right. He won the Fankit Latin American title. The title previously held by Rey Fénix. You do have a new women's champion as Taya Valkyrie, or I'm sorry, a Reinas de Reinas champion as Taya Valkyrie was defeated by Flamer. And then El Faikino did retain his AAA Mega Championship, but what it cost, though? We found out some saddening news that after this show, El Faikino did pass out. So hope everything's okay there. Wish him the best of wishes because he is such on the rise and such a young and amazing talent to watch. And in your main event, Sam Adonis did go down to Psycho Clown as he lost in the four-way along with L.A. Park and Roosh, and he lost that hair. That's right. That beautiful Adonis' hair is no more. So Sam Adonis lost his locks to one Psycho Clown. But Triple Mania, it was a hell of a great series of Triple Manias. I thought they did a great job this year, and this was a great finale for them. And we're talking about summertime tournaments. We got to update you on the 5-Star Grand Prix going on in Stardom right now. And as it stands currently in the Red Stars block, you have Natsuka Tora at 6 points, Natsupoya at 5, Mayo Iwatani and Tam Nakanow at 4 points, Suri and Suzy Suzuki at 2, and you still have Starlight Kid, Ami Sori, Hasuka, and Saya Kamatani to pick up and get any points, which really surprised me about Starlight Kid because I thought maybe she would be like one of the finalists in this block, but there's still plenty of time to go, though. Now, over on the blue side of things, you got my favorite Stardom wrestler, Mina Shirakawa, in the lead with 6 points, followed right by Julia at 5, and then Sara Onoya at 4, Mira at 4, along with Momo Watanabe, Utami Hashita, all at 4, and then Makia at 3, Maria May at 2, Asma at 2, and Hannon at 2. And I know I butchered some names there. So the Blue Stars block, you got it's pretty kind of even, man. There's not really not too far behind. So it's going to be interesting to see how, I would say we're kind of at the midway point of this. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the tournament goes. But Well, let's talk about Impact Wrestling this past week, which once again another loaded show. Impact Wrestling is probably the best wrestling on TV today that you're not watching, but you really should be because they always put out phenomenal shows. I'm not going to say banger because I hate that word, but like if you want to call it that, they put out those type of matches. They're awesome, nonetheless. But the big takeaway from Impact this week: the monster is back. PCO has returned from the dead yet again, and is he haunting Bully Ray? What do you make of this?
Just the look on Bully's face was just wonderful.
It really was.
And then he's like running off to the car. I lit the car on fire, and now he's back.
Yes, but yeah, Bully Ray, watch out because PCO's out to get you. Speaking of Bully Ray, some huge news. Impact 1000's coming up, and they have got some reunions. But the big one that was announced, Team 3D, Bully Ray and Devon will be getting back together for the show. Also, it's going to be awesome to see Awesome Comeback and the Beautiful People as well. I cannot wait for Impact 1000. That's going to be a fun show to watch. Speaking of fun shows to watch, look at all these matches that's been added to the Multiverse United, the card between New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact Wrestling. I'm really excited to see Sami Callihan and Doki. I think that's going to steal the show, honestly. One of my favorites. I'm also intrigued to see this Bullet Club going to war, man. That is going to be interesting to see what happens there. A lot of good stuff on the horizons for Impact Wrestling. And hey, let's talk about MLW Fusion. Now, this past week, we got to see Los Machismos win a 4-way matchup. Also, too, Alex Hammerstone, the former champion, was in action for the first time since dropping that belt to one Alex Kane. But don't forget, MLW Fusion is available every Thursday on Fight TV. You should definitely be checking it out. And speaking of available on Fight TV, GCW's No Signal in the Hills Part 3 took place this past Friday from the Ukrainian Center there in Los Angeles. And how about the main event? Johnny Game Changer going up against Nick Cage. This was a loaded, just a fun show. There was a great 4-way on there with Steph DeLander defeating Maki Ito and Alley Catch and Masha Slamovich. Jacob Batu was in action, going up against Effie. Awesome, awesome show. And there's always some awesome stuff going on in the indies. And speaking of which, let's go to our friend Michael J. Duplessis with the Indie Room.
It's your boy Michael. And I have some more independent wrestling event news for you. First, we have Metroplex Wrestling in Bedford, Texas. They present Purple Rain August 19th. Doors open at 5:30. You can get your tickets at mpxwrestling.com. The address is 510 Hardwood Road in Bedford, Texas. Number 2, Route 33 Wrestling Live. Saturday, September 9th at the Armory at 207 East Main Street, Spencer, West Virginia. You can get your tickets for that event at eventbrite.com/Route 33 Wrestling. And last but not least, you have ZZW's Limelight 20. This is a monthly event they do to feature their younger talent. Their next Limelight event is September 3rd, 325 St. John Street in Havre de Grace, Maryland. I hope I said that right. You can get the tickets for that event at czwrestling.com. Y'all have a good day.
There you go. And hey, how about this news? Bobby Roode apparently is got a new role in the WWE as he's working as a agent. Of course, Bobby Roode's still recovering from injury, so hope to see him again in the WWE and in the ring. But hey, if this is what his next transition is going to be, Bobby Roode had a phenomenal career. You can't deny that.
It was glorious.
It was glorious. And speaking of glorious careers, how about this, B-roll? It has been suggested that Brock Lesnar will possibly be retiring at WrestleMania 41 in Minneapolis, where it looks like he could be competing in his last matchup. I tell you what, though, if that's the case, man, this dude, Brock Lesnar, has had one of the most amazing careers I've ever seen in all professional wrestling. So, but hey, we still got a lot of time between now and then. But you know what we don't have a lot of time for, Mr. B-roll? Because it is now that time for the Dirt Sheet News.
So yeah, reporting on attendance figures, at least legit attendance figures, really isn't Dirt Sheet News. Dirt Sheet News, you kind of throw shit. Hey, it's your boy Jay, bona fide member of the Dirt Sheet Press, and here are some stories you may have missed this past week within professional wrestling. As we all know, All In, AEW's big event from England, is just around the corner. As we all know, AEW is going to try to pack as many English stars as possible on the card, at least those that aren't injured. But now it seems like AEW is dipping into the independents, as we saw last week on Dynamite that Grado was attacked by Jeff Jarrett. But it turns out that the big news, at least the rumors are swirling about, to come out of All In is going to be a high-profile program is set to come out of the tag team match between the Young Bucks and FTR. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that we are getting the CM Punk and FTR versus Elite feud, but the rumors are starting to swirl that a very high-profile event will be spiraling from the FTR Young Bucks tag team match. Could this be what we all think, or will it be something completely random? Nonetheless, the rumor mill is spinning, and they're saying that will be the biggest news of the night. Also in AEW news, Kenny Omega running the AEW's women's division, as I spoke on last week. As I said, he has majority say over AEW female division creative. It turns out he doesn't only have majority say, he has final say in everything going on within the AEW women's division. So, does this mean that the Young Bucks may have the same say-so within the AEW tag team division? I guess we'll all have to watch All In to find out. In WWE land, Triple H kicked off the board of directors. When the big merger between the UFC and WWE take place, Triple H will no longer be on the board of directors. But those close to the situation say that as a make-good to Triple H by Vince McMahon, Vince McMahon may step a bit further from WWE Creative, as Triple H is no longer on the board of directors. And speaking of WWE, the Bloodline, the storyline that never stops. As I said last week, they needed to continue the story because the networks wanted it. Paul Heyman says they're only in the third inning. That means this story is only 1/3 finished. I believe he may have been wrong. But Jey Uso leaving WWE may have more twists and turns than you expect. Rikishi, father of Jimmy and Jay, has accidentally leaked via his Instagram that he is going to be a referee between the two at Payback. He has denied so on Instagram and blamed it on a promoter for a place he will be signing autographs. But those close to the situation are throwing out ideas, as we've seen others in the Usos family do so as well, that Jey Uso may wrestle in Booker T's wrestling promotion. No, not Booker T. Stevie Ray's wrestling promotion, as WWE trusts some of its NXT stars to wrestle there. Why wouldn't they trust Jey Uso there as well with other family members, such as Jacob Fatu? So, will we see Jey Uso outside of WWE in a ring? Or will he come back within 2 weeks because the story calls for it? I don't know. I feel it's getting kind of long in the tooth. Hopefully, Cody comes and wins the title at Survivor Series to end all this craziness. But those just aren't the facts. Those are the dirty facts. The Dirt Sheet News!
News! Oh, Jay, thank you again, my friend. And hey, speaking of news, how about this? It appears Thunder Rosa may be returning at some point. At least steps in the right direction, right, Mr. B-Roll?
Yeah, apparently at Collision this past week, she was supposed to have like a 5-minute thing, before anything. And yeah.
All I know is I'm ready to hear that Thunder Rosa. Ooh, let's go, baby. And hey, we here at PW60, we love our Wrestle Talk creators. And it's that time of the week. Let's talk about our Wrestle Talk content creator of the week. And I tell you, I feel like these guys just like burst onto the scene like that. At least they just popped up in my FIP this week a lot. But man, oh man, Real Wrestle Park. If y'all aren't familiar, essentially they are taking South Park and like recreating famous scenes in professional wrestling. Like I think the first one I saw was the from the scrum from the Young Bucks and CM Punk. But they're taking shots at everybody in the world of professional wrestling. It's hilarious. You gotta watch this stuff, man. Like you have to check them out. So Real Wrestle Park, they are Wrestle Talk content creators of the week. And speaking of some of our favorite Wrestle Talk content creators, let's go to one of ours right now. You know him, you love him, Brian from Brian's House of Random for Brian's Random Moment.
And back again for PW60. Yes, it's me, Brian with Brian's House of Random. Coffee and check. Oh yes, sweet vitamin C for caffeine. All right, back again, and continuing the series about building your ultimate version of factions past and even present. Last episode, we talked about the creative genius known as Raven. In fact, the last 2 segments and the last 2 episodes of this part have been focused on Raven. And I actually, before recording this video, was about to pick another faction from ECW, since we're following ECW from Raven's nest there. And then it hit me, hold on a minute, there's another faction involving Raven from the past, probably not as well known, but still should get some love. And that is in the early days of Impact Wrestling, and that is The Gathering. Julio De Niro, CM Punk, Mickie James, all part of the faction. So, with that many people, let's go with the 1-1-1 format. And with this, keep one long-term member. Of course, the last 2 weeks, Raven's been the one to keep. We'll go ahead and keep him. Now, if there was a short-term member, you could put one there. Or do you want to really mix it up and kick Raven out completely, put CM Punk as the one you keep, and then bring in 2 new people. So you got different options to kind of play with and tinker with there. So build your ultimate version in Impact Wrestling of Raven's Gathering. Again, now, if you put other wrestlers in 1 or 2 of the slots, they can be from Impact Wrestling at that time, or they could be from Ring of Honor at that time, WWE, anywhere like that. So you build it how you want. So there you go. Have yourself a great day. And if you like coffee, you're a smart person, and enjoy more of that, and enjoy more PW60. Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah, indeed. We love Brian, man. We love his randomness. And how about this? This is crazy to me. I feel like an old man. Superfan Izzy Marino made her professional wrestling debut this past weekend in Mission Pro Wrestling. Now, if you don't remember Izzy here, you may remember that picture there on the left. Izzy was the young Bailey fan that was always at all of the NXT shows, and she's really like turned herself into quite. Her story is very fascinating to me. Hugely involved in the professional wrestling world ever since she was a kid, and now at 16 making her in-ring debut. And we wish you all the best and cannot wait to see what's coming from you, young lady, because you know you've got a bright future ahead of you. And B-Roll, I marked out when this was announced. Very rare appearance. He hardly ever does conventions, let alone comes to the United States. One of the original 4 pillars, arguably the greatest rival of Mitsuharu Mitsusawa's career, Toshika Kawada is going to be at StarCast, dude, and I cannot wait for this. I am so pumped and so excited that Kawada is going to be at StarCast. It's going to be dope, man. And finally, we did find out, it was announced this week that AEW Full Gear will be taking place in Los Angeles, the City of Angels, as they will return to the Kia Forum in November for Full Gear. So it's going to be...
It's rumored.
Oh, I thought they officially said it was at the Kia Forum. They have not. But we do know that they're going to be in LA in November for Full Gear, nonetheless. Correct?
We think.
Well, I hope so, because I don't want to end this show on a lie, folks. Well, we have come to the end here of Pro Wrestling 60. And what a week it was, and what a week it's going to be. We still got so much more wrestling to go as we are on the road to All In. So... like I said, it's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. I'm XLJ, the OG, joined by Mr. B-Roll, and we will see you next week at the matches for a brand new episode of Pro Wrestling 60. Everybody have an awesome week.